The morning sun on Kepler 442b cast long shadows across the mining settlement of New Seoul. Staff Sergeant Kim Dae-ho stood on the observation deck of the main building, watching the daily routine unfold below him. Miners headed to their shifts, while children ran to school. It was peaceful here, 3 light years from Earth. Kim Dae-ho had been protecting this colony for 2 years now. 8 Marines under his command kept watch over 200 civilians who had come here to build new lives. The work was hard but honest. They dug rare metals from the ground that Earth needed for building starships. The radio on his belt crackled. To life. "Sergeant, we have unknown contacts approaching the system," came the voice of Corporal Lee Sun-ki from the communications center. Kim Dae-ho walked quickly to the comm center. Lee Sun-ki was young, only 22, but he was good at his job. The young Marine pointed at the screen showing 3 large ships moving toward their planet. "How long until they arrive?" Kim Dae-ho asked. "About 2 hours, Sergeant." "They are not responding to our messages." Kim Dae-ho studied the screen. The ships were bigger than anything humans had built. Much bigger. "Keep trying to contact them. I want to know who they are and what they want." For the next hour, Lee Sun-ki sent messages in every language Earth knew. He used standard greeting protocols and peaceful intentions broadcasts. The ships stayed silent as they grew larger on the screen. Dr. Park Miran entered the comm center carrying her morning coffee. She was the colony's chief doctor and had become friends with all the Marines. "Any luck reaching our visitors?" she asked. "Nothing yet, Doc," Lee Sun-ki replied. "They are not talking to us at all." The ships finally entered orbit around Kepler 442b. They were massive, dark vessels with sharp edges and weapon ports clearly visible. Kim Dae-ho had seen pictures of warships before. These definitely qualified. "Sergeant," Lee Sun-ki called out, "I am getting energy readings from their ships. They are scanning our settlement." Kim Dae-ho picked up his radio and switched to the emergency channel. "All Marines report to defensive positions. This is not a drill." He turned to Dr. Park Miran. "Doc, you might want to prepare the medical center. I have a bad feeling about this." The first shuttle launched from the lead ship 30 minutes later. It was followed by 2 more. They descended toward the settlement with purpose, not like explorers or traders. These moved like soldiers. Kim Dae-ho gathered his Marines at the main gate. Lance Corporal Nam Tae-young checked his rifle while Private First Class Choi Han-sol adjusted his body armor. The other Marines took positions around the settlement perimeter. They were outnumbered but ready. The alien shuttles landed in the open area outside the main gate. The engines shut down and ramps lowered with mechanical precision. What emerged made Kim Dae-ho's blood run cold. The aliens were tall, maybe 7 feet, with gray skin that looked like stone. They wore black armor that covered most of their bodies. Each one carried a weapon that hummed with energy. They moved in perfect formation, like a military unit that had done this many times before. The lead alien stepped forward. When he spoke, his voice came through a translator device on his chest. "I am Commander Krell of the Vorthan Empire. This world now belongs to us. You will surrender immediately." Kim Dae-ho stepped forward, keeping his hands visible but ready. "I am Staff Sergeant Kim Dae-ho of the United States Marine Corps. This is a peaceful mining colony. We do not want any trouble." Commander Krell looked at Kim Dae-ho like he was studying an insect. "Trouble is not your choice to make, human. Your species is weak. Your technology is primitive. You will obey or you will die. We can talk about this," Kim Dae-ho said calmly. "There is no need for anyone to get hurt here." One of the alien soldiers, bigger than the others, stepped closer to Commander Krell. His armor had different markings. "Commander, let me show these creatures what happens when they do not bow to the Empire immediately." Commander Krell nodded. "Proceed, Warrior Prime X." Corporal Lee Sun-ki had been listening to the conversation from his position near the gate. The young Marine stepped forward with his hands raised. "Please, we are not soldiers here. Most of us are just families trying to make a living. We can work something out peacefully." Warrior Prime X turned toward Lee Sun-ki. The alien's face showed something that might have been amusement. Peace is for the strong to give to the weak. You are weak. The energy weapon in Nex's hands charged with a high-pitched whine. Lee Sun-Ki realized what was about to happen but had no time to move. The blast hit him square in the chest and sent him flying backward into the dirt. Kim Dae-ho watched his Marine fall and felt something change inside him. Something cold and hard and very dangerous. Lee Sun-Ki was not moving. The smell of burned flesh and ozone filled the air. Dr. Park Miran ran toward the fallen Marine, but Commander Krell pointed his weapon at her. Stay back, female. The human serves as an example. Kim Dae-ho knelt beside Lee Sun-Ki and checked for a pulse. The young Marine was alive but barely breathing. The energy blast had burned through his uniform and left a terrible wound across his chest. His eyes were closed and his skin was pale. Doc, we need to get him to medical right now, Kim Dae-ho said quietly. Commander Krell watched this with satisfaction. Now you understand. The Vorthan Empire takes what it wants. You will gather all humans in the central area. You will surrender your weapons. You will accept your new position as slaves to the Empire. Kim Dae-ho helped Dr. Park Miran lift Lee Sun-Ki. The young Marine was unconscious but still breathing. As they carried him toward the medical center, Kim Dae-ho spoke quietly into his radio. All Marines maintain positions but do not engage. Medical emergency in progress. The other Marines watched their sergeant carry their wounded brother toward safety. They had trained for combat, but this was different. This was personal now. Commander Krell seemed pleased with the effect his demonstration had produced. The humans were properly frightened. This would be easier than most conquests. You have 1 hour to comply with our demands. Any resistance will be met with death. As Dr. Park Mira worked to stabilize Lee Sun-Ki in the medical center, Kim Dae-ho stepped outside and looked up at the alien ships in orbit. He pulled out his communication device and switched to the emergency quantum channel that connected directly to Earth Command. Lunabase, this is New Sol Colony. We have a situation here. Request immediate assistance. Priority Alpha. The response came back within seconds. New Sol, this is Admiral Choi Han-Sol at Lunabase. What is your status? Kim Dae-ho looked back at the medical center where Dr. Park Miran was fighting to save Lee Sun-Ki's life. He looked at the alien soldiers setting up their equipment in his colony. He thought about the 200 civilians depending on him for protection. Admiral, hostile aliens have invaded our colony. They have attacked and critically wounded Marine Corporal Lee Sun-Ki without provocation, requesting immediate military assistance. There was a pause on the channel. When Admiral Choi spoke again, his voice was ice cold. Sergeant, maintain your position. Help is coming. And Sergeant? Yes, sir? They picked the wrong Marine to mess with. Dr. Park Miran's hands moved quickly over the medical equipment as she worked to save Lee Sun-Ki's life. A young Marine lay unconscious on the examination table, his breathing shallow and irregular. The alien energy weapon had burned through his chest armor and caused severe damage to his nervous system. His brain activity is erratic, Dr. Park Miran said to Kim Dae-ho, who stood watching nearby. The energy blast disrupted his neural pathways. I can stabilize him, but the damage might be permanent. Kim Dae-ho looked down at his wounded Marine. Lee Sun-Ki was just a kid from Busan who had joined the Corps to see the galaxy. Now he might never be the same because an alien wanted to make a point about power. Do whatever you can, Doc. He is a good Marine. Outside the medical center, the Vorthan soldiers had begun setting up their equipment in the colony's main square. Commander Krell stood in the center, directing his troops as they established control points around the settlement. The colonists huddled in their homes, afraid to come outside. Warrior Prime Nex approached Commander Krell with a satisfied expression. The humans are properly frightened, Commander. They will surrender within the hour. Good. Begin collecting the able-bodied adults for work assignments. The elderly and weak ones are useless to us. Lance Corporal Nam Tae-young crouched behind a supply building, watching the alien movements through his scope. The other Marines had taken similar positions around the settlement. They were outnumbered 20-1, but Marines had faced worse odds before. Kim Dae-ho's voice came through their earpieces. Hold positions. Do not engage unless they threaten civilians directly. We are waiting for support. Private First Class Choi Han-sol shifted nervously at his post near the school building. Sergeant, how long do we wait? These aliens are not going to be patient forever. As long as it takes, Marine. Trust the Corps. In the medical center, Doctor. Park Miran continued working on Lee Sun-ki. She had managed to stop the internal bleeding and stabilize his vital signs, but the neural damage was extensive. His motor functions might be impaired, she told Kim Dae-ho. He could have trouble walking or speaking when he wakes up. Kim Dae-ho felt anger building in his chest like a fire. These aliens had come to a peaceful colony and hurt his Marine for no reason except to show their power. That was not going to stand. Keep working on him, Doc, and prepare for more casualties. You think they will attack again? I think they are about to learn something about Marines that they will not like. 47 light years away on Luna Base, Admiral Choi Han-sol stood in the command center staring at the tactical display. The report from New Seoul had reached him 3 minutes ago. An unprovoked attack on a United States Marine was not something the Navy took lightly. Sir, we have 3 ships ready for immediate departure, reported his aide, Lieutenant Park Gi-won. The heavy cruiser Seoul's Pride and destroyers Incheon Thunder and Bison Lightning. Admiral Choi Han-sol had served in the Navy for 30 years. He had fought pirates and defended Earth during the Titan Wars, but this was different. This was about protecting Marines who were defending innocent civilians. Prep all ships for combat deployment, full weapons load. I want our best crews on those vessels. Sir, the journey to Kepler 442b normally takes 6 hours using standard jump protocols. Admiral Choi looked at the display showing the location of New Seoul Colony. 200 civilians and 8 Marines were depending on him. Then we do not. Use standard protocols. Get me Chief Engineer Song Myung-ho. Chief Engineer Song Myung-ho appeared on the com screen within minutes. He was a veteran engineer who had pushed Navy ships beyond their limits many times before. Chief, I need maximum speed to Kepler 442b. How fast can you get us there? Song Myung-ho studied his calculations for a moment. Admiral, if we overcharge the jump drives and push the engines past safety limits, I can get you there in 45 minutes, but sir, the stress on the ships will be enormous. Will they hold together? They will hold together, Admiral. I guarantee it. Then make it happen. We have Marines in trouble. Back on New Seoul, Commander Krell had begun broadcasting his demands to the entire colony over the public address system. His translated voice echoed through the settlement. Humans of this colony, you now serve the Vorthan Empire? You will report to the main square immediately for work assignments. Any resistance will result in death. Any delay will result in punishment. You have 10 minutes to comply. Kim Dae-ho watched through the medical center window as families emerged from their homes. Children clung to their parents while adults looked around nervously. These were miners and farmers and teachers, not soldiers. They had come here to build something good. Sergeant, came Nam Tae-young's voice through the radio. They are separating the families, putting the adults in one group and the children in another. Kim Dae-ho saw red. Threatening his Marines was one thing. Threatening innocent families was something else entirely. Dr. Park Miran looked up from her patient. His condition is stable for now, but he needs surgery that I cannot perform here. We need to get him to a proper medical facility. We will, Doc. Soon. Kim Dae-ho activated his emergency communicator again. Luna Base, this is New Seoul, status update. Admiral Choi's voice came back immediately. New Seoul, this is Admiral Choi. We are en route. ETA 45 minutes. What is your current situation? Sir, the aliens are threatening civilian families. They want to use our people as slave labor. My Marine is critically injured and needs advanced medical care. There was a pause before Admiral Choi responded. When he spoke, his voice was deadly calm. Sergeant, I want you to listen carefully. You are United States Marines. You protect what needs protecting. Those civilians are under your protection. That injured Marine is your brother. You hold that ground until we arrive. Understood, Admiral. And Sergeant? Tell those aliens that they have made the biggest mistake in their species' history. The United States Navy is coming, and we are not coming to negotiate. In the main square, Commander Krell was growing impatient. The humans were moving too slowly for his liking. Several colonists had refused to leave their children behind, causing delays in his organization process. Warrior. Prime Vex, encourage faster compliance. Vex raised his energy weapon toward a group of families near the school. Move faster or we will provide additional motivation. A young mother named Li Hai-jin stepped forward, shielding her 6-year-old daughter. Please, she is just a child. Do not hurt her. Vex aimed his weapon directly at the little girl. Children learn quickly when properly taught. That was when Kim Dae-ho made his decision. He stepped out of the medical center and walked toward the main square. His rifle was slung across his back and his hands were visible, but every Marine knew that look in his eyes. Nam Hansal all Marines, new rules of engagement. Any alien that threatens a civilian gets taken down, no warnings. Roger that, Sergeant. Kim Dae-ho stopped 20 feet from Commander Krell. You want to talk about compliance? Here are my terms. You leave this colony immediately and take your wounded with you when you go. Commander Krell laughed, a harsh sound that his translator made even more unpleasant. You are one human with 8 soldiers facing my entire force. What makes you think you can dictate terms to the Vorthan Empire? Kim Dae-ho smiled, and it was not a nice smile. Because in 45 minutes, you are going to learn why nobody messes with the United States Marines. The Earth Defense Fleet dropped out of hyperspace exactly 47 minutes after Lee Sun-ki had been shot. The 3 ships materialized in the outer system of Kepler 442b like avenging angels, their hulls still glowing from the stress of their impossible journey. Admiral Choi Han-sol stood on the bridge of Seoul's Pride, studying the tactical display that showed the Vorthan fleet in orbit around the planet. 3 large alien vessels hung in space above New Seoul Colony, their dark shapes bristling with weapon ports. Tactical analysis, Admiral Choi ordered. Lieutenant Commander Oh Seung-min worked quickly at his console. Sir, enemy vessels are approximately twice our size. Unknown armor composition and weapons capability. They appear to be in defensive formation around their command ship. Any sign of damage to the colony? Negative, Admiral. The settlement appears intact, but we are detecting weapons fire on the surface. Admiral Choi's jaw tightened. The Marines were still fighting down there. That meant they were still alive, but time was running out. Communications, open a channel to the lead alien vessel. The main screen flickered and showed the bridge of the Vorthan command ship. Commander Krell appeared, his stone-gray face showing surprise at the sudden arrival of the human fleet. I am Admiral Choi Han-sol of the United States Navy. You have attacked our personnel and threatened our civilians. You will withdraw immediately and surrender for prosecution under interstellar law. Commander Krell recovered from his initial shock and laughed harshly. Admiral, you command 3 small ships against the might of the Vorthan Empire. We have conquered 43 worlds using the same tactics we employ here. Your people will serve us or die. You have one chance to leave peacefully. Remove your forces from our colony and depart this system immediately. And if we refuse? Admiral. Troy's expression turned ice cold. Then you will learn why attacking United States Marines is the last mistake your empire will ever make. Commander Krell cut the transmission with contempt. He had seen human technology and found it primitive compared to Vorthan weapons. 3 small ships could not possibly threaten his battle fleet. All vessels, prepare for combat. Destroy the human ships and continue the ground operation. On the surface of Kepler 442b, Kim Dae-ho and his Marines had been fighting for 30 minutes. The settlement was a war zone now, with alien energy blasts leaving scorch marks on buildings while Marine rifle fire echoed through the streets. Lance Corporal Nam Tae-young had taken position on the roof of the school building. His sniper rifle had accounted for 5 alien soldiers, but more kept coming from their landing craft. Sergeant, I count 15 aliens still active. he reported through his radio. They are trying to flank us from the east side. Roger that. Choi moved to intercept. Private First Class Choi Hansol sprinted between buildings, using the cover of supply containers to avoid enemy fire. The aliens were good fighters, but they had made one critical mistake. They had underestimated human determination. In the medical center, Dr. Park Mirin worked frantically to keep Lee Sun-ki stable while energy blasts shook the building around them. The young Marine had lost consciousness again, his body struggling to cope with the severe neural damage. "Stay with me, Sun-ki," she whispered as she adjusted his life support equipment. "Your brothers are coming for you." Commander Krell watched the ground battle from his command ship with growing frustration. His soldiers should have overwhelmed the human defenders by now, but the Marines kept fighting with a ferocity that defied logic. "Warrior Prime Vex, report." Vex's voice came through the communicator, strained from combat. "Commander, the humans fight like demons. They know this terrain better than we do, and their weapons are more effective than expected." "How many humans remain?" "Unknown, sir. They are using hit-and-run tactics. We cannot get an accurate count." Before Commander Krell could respond, his tactical officer shouted a warning. "Commander, the human ships are moving to attack formation." Admiral Choi had given the Vorthons their chance. Now it was time for them to face the consequences of their actions. "All ships, this is Admiral Choi. The enemy has refused our offer of peaceful withdrawal. You are authorized to engage with full combat protocols. Protect our people on the ground." "Souls!" Pride accelerated toward the Vorthon fleet, her rail cannons charging with lethal energy. The two destroyers flanked her, their missile systems locked onto enemy targets. "Admiral, enemy ships are powering weapons," reported Lieutenant Commander Oh. "Then let them see what human weapons can do." All ships open fire. The space around Kepler 442b lit up with weapons fire as human and alien fleets engaged in deadly combat. Sol's Pride unleashed her main batteries, sending tungsten rounds toward the Vorthon command ship at a significant fraction of light speed. The alien vessel's shields flared as the projectile struck home, but the advanced human weapons punched through their defenses like tissue paper. Explosions bloomed along the Vorthon ship's hull as internal systems failed. Captain Lee Do-hyun commanded Incheon Thunder with the skill of a veteran warrior. His destroyer danced between enemy fire while launching volleys of guided missiles. At the second Vorthon vessel, direct hit on their engine section, his tactical officer reported. "Enemy ship is losing power." Captain Park Soo-jin brought Bison Lightning in close to the third alien ship, her plasma cannons tearing through their armor like it was made of paper. The Vorthon vessel tried to return fire, but human ships were faster and more maneuverable. "Their weapons are powerful but slow," she reported to Admiral Choi. "We can outfight them if we stay mobile." Commander Krell watched in horror as his supposedly invincible fleet fell apart around him. The human ships moved with a precision and coordination that spoke of years of training and combat experience. Their weapons were devastatingly effective against Vorthon technology. "How is this possible?" he demanded of his tactical officer. "Our intelligence said human technology was primitive. Sir, their ships are smaller but much faster than ours. Their weapons appear to be kinetic rather than energy-based, and they penetrate our shields more effectively." The command ship shuddered as another human salvo struck home. Warning lights flashed throughout the bridge as systems failed one by one. On the surface, Kim Dae-ho heard the sounds of space combat overhead and smiled grimly. The cavalry had arrived, and they were making their presence known. "All Marines, the fleet is here. Hold positions and stay clear of enemy landing craft. This fight is almost over." Warrior Prime Vex realized that his forces were trapped. With the Vorthon fleet under attack, there would be no evacuation or reinforcement. The humans had turned the tables completely. "All units, withdraw to the landing craft. Emergency evacuation protocols." But Kim Dae-ho had other plans. "Marines, do not let them escape. These aliens hurt our brother and threatened our civilians. They do not get to just walk away." The final phase of the Battle of New Seoul was about To begin, and the Vorthan Empire was learning a hard lesson about the price of attacking United States Marines. On Luna Base, Admiral Choi Han-sol stood in the command center watching his fleet prepare for immediate departure. The heavy cruiser Seoul's Pride dominated the main display screen, her dark hull bristling with weapons and armor plating. 2. Destroyers flanked her, Incheon Thunder and Bison Lightning, smaller but equally deadly. "Admiral, all ships report ready for combat deployment," announced Lieutenant Park Ji-won from the operations console. "Crews are at battle stations and weapon systems are armed." Admiral Choi nodded grimly. He had commanded ships in 3 different conflicts, but this felt different. An alien empire had attacked a United States Marine without provocation. They had threatened innocent civilians. That was not acceptable under any circumstances. "Signal the fleet. We depart in 60 seconds. Chief Engineer Song Myung-ho's voice came through the communication system from Seoul's Pride. "Admiral, junk drives are charged beyond normal parameters. We are ready to push these ships harder than they have ever been pushed before." "Do it. Chief, Marines are counting on us." The 3 ships disappeared from Luna orbit in flashes of blue light, their jump drives tearing holes in space-time itself. Behind them, the rest of Earth's defense fleet began mobilizing for whatever might come next, aboard Seoul's Pride. Admiral Choi walked through the corridors toward the bridge. Crew members saluted as he passed, their faces showing the same determination. He felt. Word had spread quickly through the ship about the situation on New Seoul Colony. Commander Young Hyun-soo, the ship's executive officer, met Admiral Choi at the bridge entrance. "Sir, we are pushing the engines at 120% of normal capacity. Chief Song says the ships will hold together, but we are in uncharted territory. The Marines on New Seoul do not have time for safe operating procedures." "Commander, how are our weapon systems?" "All guns are loaded and ready, Admiral. Rail cannons, missile batteries, and energy weapons are at full charge. If we have to fight, we are ready." Admiral Choi took his command chair and studied the tactical display. The journey to Kepler 442b would normally take 6 hours using standard jump protocols. They were going to make it in 45 minutes. By overloading every system on the ships. "Communications, get me a channel to Earth Command." The main screen flickered and showed Fleet Admiral Kim Min-ho in his office on Earth. The older man looked tired but alert despite the early hour. "Han-sol, I just received your departure notification. This is moving very fast. Sir, we have hostile aliens attacking our people. They shot a Marine and are threatening civilian families. We cannot let this stand." Fleet Admiral Kim studied the tactical reports on his desk. "What do we know about these Vorthans?" "Very little, sir. They appeared without warning and immediately began making demands for surrender. Their technology appears advanced, but we will not know how advanced until we engage them." "Rules of engagement?" Admiral Choi's expression hardened. "They attacked first, Admiral. They hurt our people." "Full combat authorization." Fleet Admiral Kim nodded slowly. "Approved. Bring our people home, Han-sol. And make sure these aliens understand that attacking humans has consequences." The transmission ended and Admiral Choi turned to his crew. "All stations report status." "Navigation shows 37 minutes to target," called out the helmsman. "Weapon systems optimal," reported the tactical officer. "Engineering reports. All systems stable despite the overload," added Commander Yang on the destroyer Incheon Thunder. Captain Lee Do-hyun monitored his ship's performance as they raced through space faster than any human vessel had ever traveled. The stress readings were climbing, but his ship was holding together. "Captain, we are getting some fluctuations in the secondary power grid," reported his chief engineer. "Can we maintain this speed?" "Yes, sir, but we are definitely pushing our luck here," Captain Lee smiled grimly. "Marines do not get to choose their luck, Chief, neither do we." Aboard Bison Lightning, Captain Park Soo-jin reviewed the tactical data they had received about the Vorthan ships. 3 large vessels in orbit around Kepler 442b with unknown weapons and defensive capabilities. "XO, what is your assessment of the enemy fleet?" Commander Nam Ki-woo studied his displays carefully. "Their ships are larger than ours, Captain. But size does not always determine the outcome of a battle. Our weapons technology might be superior. We will find out soon enough. Back on New Sol Colony, the situation was growing more tense by the minute. Commander Krell had divided the colonists into work groups and was preparing to transport them to his ships for processing. Children cried as they were separated from their parents. Kim Dae-ho maintained his position near the main square, watching every move the aliens made. His marines were spread throughout the settlement, ready to act if the Vorthons escalated their threats. "Sergeant," came Non Tae-young's voice through the radio. "They are loading families onto transport vehicles. Looks like they plan to take them up to the ships. Negative, that is not happening." Dr. Park Mi-ran continued working on Lee Sun-ki in the medical center. The young Marine had regained consciousness briefly, but was still in critical condition. The neural damage from the energy weapon was worse than she had initially thought. "How is he, Doc?" Kim Dae-ho asked when he checked on them. "Stable, but serious. The alien weapon disrupted his brain chemistry. He might have permanent motor skill problems and memory issues. This kind of injury requires treatment I cannot provide here." Kim Dae-ho looked at his wounded Marine and felt his anger grow colder and more focused. Lee Sun-ki had been trying to negotiate peace when they shot him. He was barely more than a boy, and now his life might never be the same. "Admiral Choi promised help is coming, Doc. Just keep him alive until then." Commander Krell grew impatient with the slow pace of the civilian processing. He decided to motivate the humans by making another example. "Warrior Prime X, select one of the adults who is moving too slowly. Execute them in front of the others." Dex pointed to an elderly man named Cho Seung-woo who was having trouble walking due to arthritis. "That one will serve our purpose." Kim Dae-ho saw what was about to happen and made his decision. The time for waiting was over. He activated his radio on the emergency frequency. "All Marines, weapons free. Take them down." 8 Marines opened fire simultaneously from concealed positions around the settlement. Their rifles were loaded with armor-piercing rounds designed for ship-to-ship combat. The alien soldiers, confident in their superiority, had not expected coordinated resistance. 3 Vorthons fell in the first volley. The others scrambled for cover, returning fire with their energy weapons. The sound of battle echoed through the colony as human and alien forces engaged in deadly combat. Commander Krell dove behind his command vehicle, shouting orders to his remaining troops. "Kill them all. Make an example that their rescue force will remember." Kim Dae-ho moved through the settlement like a ghost, using his knowledge of the terrain to stay ahead of the alien weapons. He had been a Marine for 15 years and had fought in places most people could not pronounce. These aliens were about to learn what that experience meant. 32 minutes until the fleet arrives, he whispered into his radio. "Hold the line, Marines. Help is almost here." The battle for New Sol Colony had begun in earnest. But high above the planet, 3 human warships were racing through space faster than physics should allow, carrying with them the full wrath of Earth's military might. The Vorthon Empire was about to discover that attacking a United States Marine was the worst mistake they had ever made. The space battle lasted exactly 14 minutes. Admiral Choi Han-sol watched from the Bridge of Souls, pride as the Vorthon fleet crumbled under the relentless assault of human weapons and tactics. What the aliens had thought would be an easy conquest had turned into their worst nightmare. "Admiral, enemy command ship is venting atmosphere," reported Lieutenant Commander Oh Seung-min. "Multiple hull breaches and their main reactor is going critical. What about the other 2 vessels?" "Ancient Thunder reports the second ship is dead in space. No power, no weapons, minimal life support. Bizen Lightning has disabled the 3rd vessel's engines and weapon systems." Admiral Choi studied the tactical display with professional satisfaction. The Vorthon ships had been larger and more heavily armed, but human military doctrine emphasized speed, coordination, and overwhelming firepower at the decisive moment. "Signal all ships. Cease fire but maintain targeting locks. I want to talk to the alien commander." The main screen flickered and showed the devastated bridge of the Vorthen command ship. Commander Krell stood among sparking consoles and emergency lighting, his gray face showing disbelief and growing fear. Commander Krell, your fleet is destroyed. Your forces on the ground are cut off. Surrender now, and your surviving personnel will be treated according to the laws of war. Commander Krell looked around his ruined bridge. Half his crew was dead or wounded, and his mighty warship was barely holding together. The humans had accomplished in 14 minutes what no other species had managed in centuries of Vorthen expansion. This is impossible. Our empire has conquered dozens of worlds. Our technology is superior. How did you defeat us so quickly? Admiral Troy's expression remained cold and professional. You made two critical errors, Commander. First, you attacked innocent civilians. Second, you hurt a United States Marine. That was a mistake your empire will never make again. On the surface of Kepler 442b, the ground battle was reaching its conclusion. The Vorthen soldiers had realized their fleet was gone and were trying to reach their landing craft for emergency evacuation. But Kim Dae-ho and his Marines had other plans. Nam, can you take out their shuttle engines from your position? Lance Corporal Nam Tae-young adjusted his scope and studied the alien landing craft. Affirmative, Sergeant. I have clear shots on all three shuttles. Do it! 3 precise shots disabled the Vorthen escape vehicles, stranding the alien soldiers. On the surface, without air support or extraction, they were trapped in hostile territory with diminishing ammunition supplies. Warrior Prime next gathered his remaining troops behind their makeshift barricades. Out of 20 soldiers, only 8 were still combat capable. The humans had picked them apart with superior tactics and intimate knowledge of the terrain. What are your orders, Warrior Prime? Asked one of his subordinates. Dex looked around at his defeated force and made the only decision that made sense. Surrender? We cannot fight our way out, and our ships are gone. Better to live as prisoners than die uselessly here. Kim Dae-ho received the surrender message through his radio. The alien soldiers were laying down their weapons and requesting quarter under interstellar law. For a moment he considered the Marine lying in the medical center, fighting for his life because of these invaders, but Marines followed the rules of war, even when their enemies did not. All Marines, accept their surrender, disarm them, and secure them for transport. No abuse of prisoners. Dr. Park Miran emerged from the medical center as the last shots died away. Lee Sun-ki was stable but still unconscious, his condition critical but no longer immediately life-threatening. How is he, Doc? Kim Dae-ho asked as he approached. He needs surgery that I cannot perform with the equipment here. The neural damage is extensive, and every hour that passes makes full recovery less likely. Kim Dae-ho activated his communicator. Admiral Choi, this is Sergeant Kim. The ground situation is secure. All alien forces have surrendered. But I need immediate medical evacuation for Corporal Lee Sun-ki. Admiral Choi's response was immediate. Already in progress, Sergeant. Medical shuttle is launching now with our best trauma team. Ada 15 minutes. The colonists began emerging from their hiding places as word spread that the battle was over. Families reunited in the main square while Marines stood guard over their alien prisoners. The children who had been crying in terror an hour ago now looked at the Marines with something approaching hero worship. Lee Haijin, the mother who had shielded her daughter from Warrior Prime X, approached Kim Dae-ho with tears in her eyes. Thank you, Sergeant. You saved our lives. Just doing our job, ma'am. Protecting people is what Marines do. Commander Krell was transported to Seoul's Pride under heavy guard, his injuries treated by human medics despite his earlier threats against the colonists. Admiral Choi met him in the detention bay, studying the alien commander with professional interest. Your empire controlled 43 worlds, Admiral Choi said quietly. How many species did you conquer through fear and violence? All of them, Krell replied bitterly. It is the Vorthen way. The strong rule the weak. Not anymore. You attacked the wrong species, Commander. Humans protect their own. In the medical bay of Seoul's Pride, the Navy's best trauma surgeons worked on Lee Sun-ki under Dr. Park Miran's guidance. The young Marine's condition was serious but treatable with advanced medical technology. Will he recover? Kim Dae-ho asked Dr. Yoon Jae-sung, the lead surgeon. The damage is significant, but we can repair most of it. He will need months of rehabilitation, but he should make a full recovery. The quick treatment by Dr. Park saved his life. Kim Dae-ho felt a weight lift from his shoulders. His Marine was going to be okay. The mission was complete, the civilians were safe, and the enemy was defeated. Captain Lee Doo-hyun reported from Incheon Thunder that they had secured the disabled Vorthen vessels. Admiral, we are finding extensive databases about their empire. Looks like they have been conquering worlds for over 2 centuries. Good. Compile everything and transmit it to Earth Command. The galaxy needs to know what these aliens have been doing. Captain Park Soo-jin added her report from Busan Lightning. Sir, we are also finding evidence of slave labor camps on multiple worlds. Millions of beings from dozens of species. Admiral Choi felt his anger return. The attack on New Seoul was not an isolated incident. It was part of a pattern of violence and oppression that had lasted for generations. Signal Earth Command. Tell them we need a full fleet deployment. The Vorthen Empire ends now. As the medical shuttle carried Lee Sun-ki to safety and the alien prisoners were processed, word of the battle began spreading throughout known space. A human colony had been attacked, and the response had been swift, decisive, and overwhelming. The Vorthen Empire, which had terrorized the galaxy for centuries, had been brought to its knees in less than an hour by a single human battle group responding to an attack on one Marine. Other alien civilizations watched the aftermath with a mixture of awe and calculation. The humans had demonstrated military capabilities far beyond what anyone had suspected. More importantly, they had shown that they would use those capabilities to protect their own people without hesitation. The galaxy was about to learn a new rule: do not mess with humans, and never, ever hurt their Marines. 3 months after the Battle of New Seoul, Corporal Lee Sun-ki stood in the physical therapy center aboard Luna Base, taking his first steps without assistance since the alien attack. Dr. Park Miron watched proudly as her former patient moved slowly but steadily across the room. How does it feel? She asked. Lee Sun-ki smiled, though his movements were still careful and deliberate. Like I'm learning to walk all over again, Doc, but I am walking. For a while there, I was not sure that would happen. The neural damage from the Vorthen energy weapon had been severe, but human medical technology and Lee Sun-ki's determination had combined to produce what the doctors called a miraculous recovery. He would never be quite the same, but he was alive and healing. The doctors say I can return to active duty in 6 months, Lee Sun-ki continued. Light duty at first, but still a Marine. Dr. Park Marin nodded with satisfaction. She had stayed on Luna Base to oversee his treatment, leaving New Seoul Colony in the capable hands of the new medical team that Earth Command had sent to replace her. Kim Dae-ho entered the therapy center carrying a datapad with the latest reports from around the galaxy. The aftermath of the Vorthen defeat was still sending shockwaves through interstellar politics. How is our hero today? Kim Dae-ho asked with a grin. Still working on being a Marine again, Sergeant, Lee Sun-ki replied, continuing his walking. Exercises. Kim Dae-ho's expression grew more serious as he consulted his datapad. You might be interested to know that the Vorthen Empire officially surrendered yesterday. Complete capitulation. They are releasing all their conquered worlds and paying reparations to every species they enslaved. All of that because they shot one Marine? All of that because they picked a fight with the wrong species, Kim Dae-ho corrected. Admiral Troy's fleet found 43 worlds under Vorthen control. The Liberation Fleet freed over 50 million beings from slavery camps. The scope of the Vorthen crimes had shocked the galaxy. For over 2 centuries, they had conquered world after world, enslaving entire populations and stripping planets of their resources. The attack on New Seoul had been just another routine operation in their expansion, but it had also been their last. Admiral Choi Han-sol stood in his office on Luna Base, reviewing reports from across known space. The defeat of the Vorthan Empire had created a power vacuum that dozens of alien civilizations were scrambling to understand. Ambassador Song He-young entered his office carrying a stack of diplomatic messages. Admiral, we have received formal contact requests from 16 different alien governments. They all want to establish diplomatic relations with Earth. Any of them friendly? Most seem genuinely interested in peaceful contact. A few appear to be testing our military capabilities, and several are asking for protection from other hostile empires. Admiral Choi was not surprised. Word of how quickly humans had defeated the Vorthans had spread throughout the galaxy faster than lightspeed communication could carry it. Every species was reevaluating their assumptions about human capabilities. What does Earth Command want us to do? Proceed carefully. Welcome peaceful contact, but make it clear that we will respond to threats the same way we responded to the Vorthans. On New Sol Colony, life had returned to normal with some significant changes. The mining operation continued under increased security, but now the colony also served as a base for humanitarian missions to former Vorthan worlds. The colonists had erected a memorial in the main square where the battle had taken place. A simple stone marker bore the inscription, "In honor of Corporal Lee Sun-ki, United States Marine Corps, who was wounded here defending innocent people. His sacrifice reminded the galaxy that humans protect their own." Children played around the memorial while their parents worked, secure in the knowledge that 8 Marines still stood guard over their community. But now those Marines were no longer alone. A full company of Earth Defense Force soldiers had been stationed on New Sol, along with a squadron of fighter craft and advanced defensive systems. Commander Krell sat in his cell on Earth, awaiting trial for war crimes. The former Vorthan leader had spent his imprisonment studying human history and culture, trying to understand how his empire had been defeated so decisively. He had learned about human concepts like justice, sacrifice, and protecting the innocent. These ideas were foreign to Vorthan thinking, which emphasized only strength and dominance. But they had proven more powerful than any weapon in the Vorthan arsenal. During his interrogation sessions, Krell had been asked repeatedly why the Vorthans had attacked the colony without provocation. His answer was always the same: because they could. Because they were strong and humans appeared weak. That miscalculation had cost his empire everything. Lieutenant Commander Park Ji-won, now promoted, and serving as Admiral Choi's chief of staff, compiled the final report on the Vorthan conflict. The numbers were staggering. Total battle time: 47 minutes from first contact to complete victory. Vorthan casualties: 847 dead, 1,203 captured human casualties, 1 wounded, 0 killed. Worlds liberated: 43 beings freed from slavery, 52.7 million. But the most important statistic was not on any official report. It was the message that had been sent to every hostile civilization in the galaxy. Humans would defend their own with overwhelming force and absolute determination. Dr. Yoon Jae-sung published his medical report on Lee Sun-ki's recovery in the Journal of Interstellar Medicine. The case study of treating alien energy weapon injuries became required reading at medical schools across human space. More importantly, it established protocols for treating similar injuries that would save lives in future conflicts. Captain Lee Do-hyun and Captain Park Soo-jin both received promotions and new commands in the expanding Earth Defense Fleet. The success against the Vorthans had convinced Earth's government to accelerate military expansion and exploration programs. New ships were being built with lessons learned from the battle. Human weapons and tactics had proven superior to Vorthan technology, but there were other threats in the galaxy that might require different approaches. 6 months after the battle, Lee Sun-ki returned to active duty with a new assignment. He was stationed on New Sol Colony as part of the Permanent Security Detachment, serving under Kim Dae-ho, who had been promoted to gunnery sergeant. "It feels good to be back," Lee Sun-ki said as he took his post at the main gate where he had been shot. "Good to have you back, Marine," Kim Dae-ho replied. "The colony has not been the same without you." They stood together watching the sunset over the mining settlement. Two Marines who had faced the unknown and emerged victorious. Around them, families went about their daily lives in peace and security. The Vorthan Empire was gone, but its defeat had taught the galaxy a valuable lesson. Humans appeared peaceful and reasonable most of the time. They preferred negotiation to violence and cooperation to conquest, but when threatened, when their people were attacked, when innocent lives were endangered, humans transformed into something that even the most warlike species found terrifying. They fought with precision, determination, and a unity of purpose that could not be matched. The galaxy had learned to respect human mercy. Now it also learned to fear human justice. In the end, the lesson was simple. Humanity would extend the hand of friendship to any species willing to accept it. But those who chose violence would face the full might of human military power, delivered with devastating efficiency and unshakable resolve. The Vorthan Empire had discovered this truth in 47 minutes. Their example would serve as a warning to any other species that might consider testing human determination. Do not attack peaceful colonies. Do not threaten innocent civilians. And most importantly, never ever harm a United States Marine. The galaxy had been warned.